Miami and Wake Forest take on each other this weekend. Joe, the Hurricanes, since the last time we've seen them, at least on the more national stage here, have fallen to or failed to Georgia Tech. A 4-6 Wake Forest team is their next opponent. How you see this game going?
Yeah, I think this game's important to talk about because Miami needs to bounce back, and we want to see the degree in which they bounce back. I don't really see a world that Wake Forest wins this football game, but I do see a world where Wake Forest maybe keeps it close if Miami is not coming out completely locked in and focused. That was their biggest issue, and something that we discussed after the Georgia Tech game was that they were in a number of games starting slow, and they were not hitting the ground running to the degree that they should have been in order to win games handily against opponents that they were far more talented than. Wake Forest they should beat, but are they going to have that reset? Are they going to have that lock-in after the downfall against Georgia Tech? Wake Forest is not going to run the ball as successfully as Georgia Tech does, but Desmond Claiborne has been one of the more under-talked about. There's a lot of guys this week just under-talked about players on these mid-level teams. Claiborne has 919 yards and 11 touchdowns. He has been very, very productive on the ground. If you're able to bottle up that rushing attack with a defensive front that should be more successful than it has been, and you win this thing handedly, I will feel a lot better on how focused you are following the Georgia Tech loss.
All right. Here's where I'm at with Miami. Miami fans think I hate him, even though I picked Cam Ward to be the Heisman Trophy winner, even though I picked him to win the ACC, and still believe that that is going to happen. Even though I believe that they're still going to make a playoff, Miami fans, listen. Don't argue yet. Just listen. You have not shown the ability defensively that you're not going to be in a game where you don't allow big plays. You haven't. At least not over the last 6 weeks. You have found ways to let a true freshman quarterback come into a game 2 weeks ago in Georgia Tech and convert 3 third down and longs against you. You have not shown the ability that you can consistently stop people in critical moments. You continue to show each and every week that you're giving up big plays. Joe, they're still 132nd in the country in explosive play rate defensively, meaning they are literally second to last in explosive plays defensively. When I look at Miami versus Wake Forest, there is one big key cog in this game. Do you want to know what it is?
What's that?
Wake Forest can get explosive plays on you in the passing game. Your secondary, 1,000%, has been able to not find a way to get locked in on man-on-man coverage. Joe, Wake Forest is 35th in the country in passing offense. And I see it every week with Miami. Every game, a team that has no business doing what they're doing, Georgia Tech, no business finding ways to be able to get explosive plays. Now, when I look at Wake Forest, Joe, I mean, they're so bad at running the football. When I look at them, they're 95th in the country running the ball. I don't think that that's going to challenge Miami whatsoever. What I do look at Wake Forest is, look, you have a team that continues to find ways to allow teams to stay around with them. How have you refocused? To your point, how have you refocused? What have you been able to do these last 2 weeks to show me that you are going to be able to stop these explosive plays? How?
That's my biggest. Where did you say Wake Forest was in passing
35th
offense?
in passing offense.
Okay, there they are. I was just double checking that.
Yep, 35th in pass. Are you checking my stats?
No, I'm just confirming because I didn't see that. I didn't see that when I put my notes together.
Here's the thing about Wake Forest, even though they're 4-6, you ready? They are abysmal everywhere else.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Defensively, they've been very messy, and they run that slow.
But again, this is a. All right, never mind. But Miami fans are going to get mad. Again, you're going to have to show the ability that a team that's got explosive plays throwing the football, that you can stop it. Well, I mean, it's been a call for 6 weeks.
I don't love using the description explosive offense for.
I didn't say explosive offense.
You just said that they had explosive plays. Did you not? Am I crazy?
No, that's what's made them 35th in the country at throwing the football.
I don't love that description because they run that slow mesh that they've perfected and that Clausen loves to run. They're a little bit more dink and dunk than they are.
What was Georgia Tech? What was Georgia Tech?
Okay. I understand what you're trying to say here. That is my biggest piece for this. I don't think that Miami is going to have a problem. I really don't. I think that Miami should dog walk them. This should be an easy matchup. You're going up against a middling team in the ACC that has done a little bit better than people have realized, but they also have not really beaten anybody. They have been a doormat in the ACC for a very long time, and we know that. To the point that I opened this segment with, how effective are you at limiting any explosive plays from occurring? How effective are you at converting and finishing drives the way that you have been, but more importantly, turning to your run game to close out games? That to me has been one of the bigger issues for them, is that they get away from their rushing attack that can be very successful. They're 5th in the country in EPA per rush. They are extremely efficient at running the football, and they have 2 enormous running backs in Damian Martinez, who's 240 pounds, and Mark Fletcher, who's 6'2". Just please, Cam Ward is amazing, but please just give them the ball and control the time of possession for once. I know that not every offense is built like that, but in a close game in the third quarter, especially in the Georgia Tech situation where you were taking the sacks and the pressures that you were, run the ball. You have 2 big backs that are probably going to go on to get opportunities in the NFL to be premier number 1 running backs in the league. For the love of God, just run the ball more. That's what I want to see in this game. Can they stop over-relying on throwing the ball and really control the tempo?
Joe, they be top 5. You got EPA per play. I don't have the EPA per play. What's the EPA per play of them running the football in Miami?
Well, their EPA per rush is number 5.
You want to know what their total rushing offense is, though?
It's way lower than it should be.
48th.
Yeah, because like imagine if they just added 5 more carries a game. Just 5. I'm not asking for anything crazy. Just 5 more carries a game. How much more do they?
You need to add about 10.
I know that they do, but I'm saying if you go halfway, they would probably be top 20 if they were able to add just a few more rushing attempts per game.
Nuh-uh.
Okay.
Joe, I love Cam Ward more than anybody. You know this. But you got to start being a more complete team. Again, Miami fans, I told you this. Shannon was at Southeastern Louisiana when all that crew of us got recruited and were coming in. I know the system that you're in. I promise you this too. Our teams, we would be fighting the OC if we weren't running the ball more with a dude like Damian Martinez. By the way, we had a back that had 1,000 yards, okay, and an air raid offense. All I am telling you here is this, and it's simple. Joe, you got to control the games a little bit more. You got to lean on teams. You want to get that pass rush away? Lean on them more. Joe, they were up 7 against Georgia Tech 2 weeks ago. They could have ran the football and ended that game. They could have ended the game, and they got too greedy. So, look, I agree with you. I do think Miami wins here, and I do think that they actually get it really close to covering. Bottom line, though, is I could see yet another team in Wake Forest keeping something close because they can throw the ball around. I mean, they can. And that's the goofy shit. Hey, prove to me. And then, Joe, you want to know what the funny thing is in these last 6 weeks with Miami and talking about Miami?
What?
They came into the chat and started telling me, what do you mean we hadn't had a dominant game? We played Florida State. They're 1-9.
Yeah, that can't be. Not a lot of fans were doing that, but yeah, we can't.
No, there were a lot. Oh God,
that can't be the example of.
It's not the example. So
I have a lot of belief in this Miami team, but
I do too. But Joe, they have one massive area of weakness.
And it's a lot. Look, I know, and I've never disagreed with you on that. And I've thought that they could live and die off of just outscoring their opponents, and that hasn't worked. It has worked, but they got caught up against Georgia Tech, and that was when it failed. Wake Forest is the first opportunity here to lock in and to refocus on what produces balanced football, you have the guys to do it on offense and on defense. Don't leave your defense out there. Don't hang them out to dry. They don't need to be on the field as much as you're making them. Run the ball, win the damn game.
All right. Prove to me that you can do it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I have faith that you can do it, but every single week I look at you and say, hey, you know what the great thing is? Can I tell you what before we get out of this Miami take here, the great thing about this is every single week, Miami fans come in here and be like, Blake's a hater. Blake's a hater. He hates Miami. And then when it plays out in the field,
keep doing it, Miami fans.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.